Have you ever sat down one afternoon, tea in hand, sunlight pouring through the window, and suddenly thought, I don't feel quite like myself anymore? No dramatic illness, no major injury, just a quiet change. Maybe you find yourself forgetting why you walked into a room. Maybe getting out of a chair takes more effort than it used to. Or perhaps, without even realizing it, you've stopped doing things you once loved, simply because they feel harder now. You might chalk it up to just getting older. That's what most people do. But here's what no one tells you. Not all parts of aging are inevitable. Some are simply the result of small habits, tiny, repeated choices we make each day that slowly drain our strength, our clarity, our independence, without a single warning sign. My name is your host name, and today I want to talk with you, not as a doctor or a coach, but as someone who's watched these changes unfold in the lives of people I care about deeply, and maybe even in myself. In the next few minutes, we'll gently explore 6 habits that often go unnoticed after 70. They may seem harmless, familiar, even comforting, but letting go of them, just one at a time, might be the key to unlocking a stronger, steadier, more joyful version of you. This video isn't about doing more. It's about choosing better, not about chasing youth, but honoring where you are now, with grace, with intention, and with a quiet kind of courage. So take a deep breath. This isn't a lecture. It's a gentle conversation. And maybe, just maybe, it's the beginning of a new chapter, one that feels a little lighter, a little freer, and a lot more you. Let's begin. At first, Gerald just thought he was slowing down. He was 76, retired, well-read, still sharp as ever. But little by little, things changed. First, it was harder to get out of his favorite armchair. Then came the hesitation when stepping off a curb. Eventually, he started using the handrail for just one step, just to be safe, he told himself. But what Gerald didn't realize, and what most people don't, is that the more he avoided physical effort, the weaker he quietly became. And here's the truth. After age 70, avoiding strength-based activity doesn't protect you. It accelerates your decline. It's a gentle betrayal of the body. You think you're playing it safe by taking it easy, but your muscles, left unused, begin to fade. Not dramatically, not overnight, but subtly, steadily, in a way you barely notice until you do. And when muscle mass decreases, a condition called sarcopenia, it's not just your legs or arms that suffer. Your balance slips. Your posture falters. Everyday tasks like carrying groceries or standing from a toilet become miniature battles. But here's the hopeful part. Muscle loss isn't a life sentence. Even small amounts of strength training, done consistently, can help reverse it. And you don't need a gym membership or fancy equipment. Take Gerald, for example. After a minor fall, his daughter gently encouraged him to try a few balance exercises. Reluctantly, he started doing 5 sit-to-stands a day, lifting soup cans for arm strength, and walking 10 minutes every morning. Nothing intense, just steady movement. Within a month, he noticed he could rise from a chair more easily. 2 months in, he stopped needing to lean on the bathroom sink for support. His confidence returned, not just in his legs, but in himself. The lesson: strength is not about lifting heavy. It's about reclaiming your ability to move with freedom. So if you've been telling yourself, I don't need to do much anymore, pause and ask, what am I slowly giving up by not moving? Because in truth, it's not just about fitness. It's about being able to stand tall when the doorbell rings. It's about bending down to hug your grandchild. It's about rising without help, and the quiet pride that comes with that. And now, speaking of habits we've held onto for too long, let's talk about another invisible trap many of us fall into, one that starts on our plate. Let's move to part 2, eating like you're still 40. Why your meals need to change with you. When Margaret turned 74, her routine hardly changed. She still made her famous hearty breakfasts, eggs, bacon, toast with butter, just like she had since raising 3 kids in a busy household. Lunch was a sandwich or leftovers, and dinner? A full plate, generous portions, maybe a sweet treat to end the day. It was what she'd always done. But lately, Margaret felt different. After meals, she noticed a heavy fatigue settling in. Her stomach felt unsettled. She needed more naps. Her doctor said her blood sugar was creeping up. Nothing alarming, but worth watching. And then came the words that stuck. You're feeding your 40-year-old body, Margaret, but your 74-year-old body has different needs. See, this is something no one tells us. As we age, our digestion slows down, our metabolism changes, and our nutritional priorities shift. But our habits? They often stay stuck in time. Eating the same foods in the same way may feel familiar, but it can quietly weigh us down. Large portions, heavy meats, too much bread, not enough fiber, not enough water, and before long, energy dips, digestion lags, and clarity fades. But here's the good news. We don't need to give up the foods we love. We just need to gently shift how we eat. Margaret started making small changes. She added more greens to her meals, swapped white bread for whole grain, cut her dinner portions slightly. She began her mornings with fruit and yogurt instead of bacon and eggs. Nothing drastic, just small, wise choices. And the results were subtle but powerful. Less bloating, steadier energy, and even a bit of lightness in her step. The takeaway is simple. You're not living in the same body you had 30 years ago. So why feel like you are? This isn't about restriction. It's about respect. Respect for your body's needs. Respect for this chapter of your life. And ultimately, respect for your future self. Now, while food nourishes the body, something else is just as vital for the heart and mind. Let's talk about the hidden danger that creeps in quietly when we begin to pull away from others. Coming up, Part 3, Disconnected by Choice. Why isolation feels safer, but costs more than you know. After her husband passed, Elaine, at 79, began turning down invitations. Lunch with old friends? Maybe next time. Sunday gatherings at church? I'm just a little tired today. Phone calls from her daughter? Tell her I'll call back later. She told herself she just needed space. And at first, it felt like a relief. Quieter days, fewer expectations, no pressure to smile when she didn't feel like it. But as the months went on, the silence grew heavy. Her home, once a sanctuary, now felt hollow. Her thoughts turned inward, looping through memories and worries. And a strange thing began to happen. The longer she stayed away, the harder it became to return. This is the quiet danger of isolation. We often choose it thinking we're protecting ourselves, preserving energy, avoiding awkwardness, sparing others our grief or fatigue. But connection isn't a luxury. It's a form of survival. Loneliness has been shown to increase the risk of depression, memory loss, and even heart issues. And yet, it doesn't announce itself with alarms. It tiptoes, and while we convince ourselves we're just fine. The good news? Reconnection doesn't have to mean big social events or pretending to be cheerful. It starts with small steps. Elaine's daughter gently nudged her to try a community art class. The first day, Elaine barely spoke, but by the third week, she found herself laughing, genuinely, at a stranger's story. She hadn't realized how much she missed hearing someone else's voice beside her own. The truth is, connection doesn't always fix what's broken, but it reminds us we're not alone while we heal. So if you've been slowly pulling back, maybe today is the day to stretch forward. Call a friend. Join a walking group. Share a cup of tea with your neighbor. Because staying connected isn't about staying busy. It's about staying alive in the truest sense. And speaking of staying alive, let's shift into another quiet risk. One that shows up not in your heart, but in your health. Coming up next, Part 4, Ignoring the Whispers. Why small symptoms deserve your full attention. Walter always said he had a high tolerance for discomfort. So when his legs started swelling a bit in the evening, he propped them up. When he felt more tired than usual after lunch, he took a nap. When he occasionally forgot where he put his keys, he joked, senior moment. He didn't want to worry his family, didn't want to be that person who calls the doctor for every little thing. But deep down, he knew something was off. Then one afternoon, while gardening, Walter stood up too quickly, and everything went black. He didn't fall. He caught himself. But that moment, that fleeting, frightening second, was enough to finally make the call. The diagnosis: early-stage heart failure and the beginnings of type 2 diabetes. His doctor looked him gently in the eye and said, If you'd waited a few more months, we'd be having a very different conversation. Here's the hard truth most don't like to talk about. Your body whispers before it screams. And after 70, those whispers matter more than ever. A new ache, a shift in energy, a moment of confusion. They're not always just age. Sometimes, they're red flags waving quietly in the background, waiting to be noticed. We were raised in a generation that prides itself on toughness. But in this stage of life, strength looks different. It's not about pushing through pain. It's about knowing when to pause, pay attention, and speak up. And there's no shame in listening to your body. In fact, it's one of the wisest things you can do. Walter's life didn't change overnight, but with a few adjustments to his diet, a new medication, and regular check-ins, he now walks to the park every morning briskly, proudly, because catching something early gave him a second chance to stay independent. The lesson: trust the little signs. Don't dismiss what feels different. Being proactive isn't being paranoid. It's choosing possibility over regret. And now, from listening to your body, let's talk about something just as important: listening to your mind. Because what happens when we rely too heavily on memory alone? Coming up next, Part 5, The Memory Myth. Why writing things down isn't a sign of weakness. Bill used to remember everything. Birthdays, bill payments, appointments, what brand of cereal his wife preferred. He prided himself on having a steel trap of a brain. Even joked that his memory was better than his kids. But lately, the steel trap had started to rust. He'd find himself opening the fridge and forgetting why. He'd skip a morning medication, then double it in the afternoon just in case. And when he forgot a long-planned lunch with his sister, something he never would have missed, he sat down at the kitchen table, shook his head, and quietly whispered, "What's happening to me?" That's the thing no one prepares you for, how the sharpness slowly softens. And for many people over 70, the reaction is the same. Hide it. Pretend it's nothing. Laugh it off. Avoid talking about it. But here's the truth. Writing things down isn't giving up on your memory. It's giving your mind a little breathing room. It's a form of respect for your time, your health, your peace of mind. Bill started small, a sticky note by the kettle reminding him to take his blood pressure pills. Then he bought a little notebook for appointments. His granddaughter helped him set a daily phone reminder for his walk. And gradually, the anxiety lifted. The second-guessing faded. He said it felt like removing the clutter inside my brain. You see, our minds weren't built to carry everything, especially not after decades of life, memories, worries, and responsibilities. A calendar on the fridge, a simple checklist on the nightstand, a reminder on your phone. These aren't signs of decline. They're signs that you're adapting with grace, with intention, with wisdom. And when your mind is less burdened with the little things, it has more room for what really matters: connection, learning, presence, joy. So if you've been holding back, feeling like writing it down means something is wrong, let me tell you this: there's nothing more right than giving yourself the tools to thrive. And speaking of tools, there's one modern resource that many seniors shy away from, even though it could open doors to freedom, ease, and connection. Let's talk about that next. Coming up, Part 6, The Tech Wall. Why avoiding technology is holding you back, and how to gently step over it. Louise never considered herself old-fashioned. She paid her bills on time, loved flipping through newspapers, and was always the first to lend a hand when neighbors needed anything. But ask her to send a text, order a prescription online, join a Zoom call with her grandkids, she'd smile politely and say, "That's not really my thing." The truth is, technology felt like a wall, cold, complicated, unfamiliar. And for a long time, Louise believed avoiding it kept her safe. But over time, she noticed something else. She was missing out. Her daughter had to call in every refill. Her grandson sent photos she never got to see. She stopped getting updates about church events because now they all came through email. It wasn't until one rainy afternoon, when her granddaughter visited with hot tea and a patient smile, that something shifted. They sat side by side on the couch. In less than 20 minutes, Louise had learned how to check her schedule, read messages, and even set a daily reminder to take her pills. She didn't become a tech wizard overnight. But what she did feel was capable, independent, reconnected. Here's what no one says loudly enough. Technology is not here to replace you. It's here to support you. You don't need to master every app or own the latest gadget. You just need a little curiosity and someone kind to show you the ropes. Learning how to video call doesn't mean you're becoming young. It means you're staying engaged. Using a digital calendar doesn't mean you've lost track of time. It means you value your time enough to protect it. Just like walking with a cane isn't weakness, it's wisdom. So is learning how to use the tools that make life smoother, safer, and more connected. If the thought of getting into tech has felt overwhelming, try one small step. Ask a family member to teach you how to check the weather on your phone, or how to set an alarm for your medications, or how to click a YouTube video, like this one, and come back to it later. Each click is a tiny bridge between where you are and the world still waiting for you. Because no matter your age, you still have places to go, people to connect with, and new things to explore. And now that we've gently stepped past the tech wall, it's time to bring all of these insights together. Coming up next, final thoughts, letting go of what's heavy, so you can embrace what's next. For years, Harold believed that 4 or 5 hours of sleep was plenty. He'd stayed up late watching the news, sometimes reading until 2 a.m. "I've always been a night owl," he'd say with a grin, brushing off his yawns the next morning. His wife gently reminded him to drink more water. His doctor mentioned the benefits of earlier bedtimes. But Harold insisted, "I've done fine this long. I'm sure I'm just getting older." Then came the fog. Not just tiredness, but forgetfulness. He began feeling dizzy when he stood up. His joints ached more. And one afternoon, while getting up from his favorite chair, he blacked out, just for a second. That was enough to scare him. Enough to make him wonder, what if the little things I've ignored weren't so little after all? Here's the truth. Lack of sleep and low hydration are two of the most underestimated causes of aging symptoms. You may think it's your age making you sluggish, achy, forgetful, or moody. But more often than not, it's your body waving a white flag. Please let me rest. Please refill me. After 70, your body processes water differently. You feel thirst less often. But the need doesn't go away, it increases. Mild dehydration can affect everything from memory to balance to heart function. Sleep works the same way. It's not just about feeling rested. It's when your brain sorts your memories. It's when your muscles repair. It's when your heart gets a break from the work it does all day long. Skipping those hours doesn't make you strong. It just makes your body quietly struggle. And yet, here's the beautiful part. Both hydration and sleep are gifts you can still give yourself, starting tonight. Drink a glass of water when you wake up. One in the afternoon. One before bed. Set a gentle bedtime. Nothing strict, just a loving routine. This isn't about discipline. It's about kindness. Toward your body, your brain, your heart. Because the smallest habits, when done consistently, have the power to reverse what time has tried to take. Eleanor always said the same thing with a smile and a shrug. "Oh, I've always been like this. I don't like trying new things. I'm not one for change." She said it when her friends invited her to a book club, when her daughter offered to show her how to use her new phone, when her doctor suggested joining a balance class at the local rec center. She wasn't angry or upset, just content, comfortable in her habits. But one evening, while folding laundry alone in the quiet, she paused. Her house was neat, her routine predictable, but something inside her whispered, "Is this really how I want to spend the rest of my days?" Because here's the truth. The phrase, "that's just how I am," feels safe, but it's often a shield we use to stay small. After a lifetime of adapting for others, raising families, caring for loved ones, following routines, we sometimes cling to habits and identities that no longer serve us. But guess what? You're not frozen in time. You're still evolving, and you are allowed to rewrite your story. You can be 73 and learn a new dance. You can be 82 and decide you do like technology after all. You can be 77 and say, "I used to hate mornings, but now I take a sunrise walk every day." Growth doesn't stop when the candles on the cake multiply. It continues, quietly, gently, each time you say, Maybe I can try. Maybe I've changed. Maybe there's more to me than I believed. Letting go of old scripts isn't about denying who you've been. It's about choosing who you still want to become. So the next time your mind tells you, "That's just who I am," pause and ask, is that still true? Or is it just familiar? Because comfort isn't always the same as joy. And sometimes, the biggest breakthroughs happen when we stop repeating lines and start writing a new chapter. Coming up next, let's bring it all together in one final reflection. Final thoughts, letting go of what's heavy, so you can embrace what's next. So here we are. We've walked together through quiet truths, simple shifts, and unspoken habits that slowly shape the way we age. And if there's one thing I hope stays with you, it's this. You don't have to carry everything just because you always have. You don't have to keep saying yes to things that drain you. You don't have to eat, move, think, or live the way you did 20 years ago. Unless that version still brings you peace and strength today, you've earned the right to release the weight of old expectations, to unlearn the habits that no longer serve your body or your soul, to step away from routines that were written in a different chapter by a different version of you. Because right now, you're still writing. This season of life is not a conclusion. It's a reawakening. And maybe, just maybe, it's time to say, I'm not too old to grow. I'm not too late to change. I'm not done living. Whether it's choosing sleep over screen time, strength over stillness, or courage over comfort, every small step is a declaration that you still matter. So let me ask you gently, which old habit are you ready to let go of today? Which new choice, no matter how small, can you make tomorrow? Leave a comment below and share just one thing that stood out to you. Your story might help someone else feel brave enough to change theirs too. And if this message touched you, don't forget to click like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so we can keep walking this road together, week after week, video after video. Because you are not invisible, you are not finished, and the most meaningful years of your life may still be ahead. See you in the next one.